And don't use the Survivor song as well.
Oh, no,
Lots of people use that. That's the old day. I think those ones they delete first.
We wanted you to actually walk into like a area.
Yeah, we were like that would have been. Okay, guys, welcome back to the weekly order. Obviously, I've had mumps, so we've been out for 2 weeks. So anyone missing the episodes, we really do apologize. I obviously was a bit sick.
Been in quarantine, yeah.
But we've come back with a banger for you guys. We have Rob Bentele here, and he's the winner of Survivor. Yeah. How cool is that? Rob, if you want to let everyone know who you are, what happened, how Survivor, just introduce yourself. Where can they find you?
Firstly, thanks for having me, Franco. Really appreciate it, brother. So yes, I did win Survivor South Africa Island of Secrets in 2019. It's been about 2.5 months since the win. And yeah, life has been a bit hectic since.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. I mean, there was obviously a big press run afterwards that kept you busy.
Correct.
But the way we're going to structure this episode, like we let you know beforehand, is that we're going to go pre-Survivor, during Survivor, and then post-Survivor. So obviously we're going to ask you questions that everyone's always wanted to know about these TV shows, especially Survivor, like the real surviving aspect to it.
Yeah, excellent.
So let's start with pre-Survivor. Did you train for it? How did you get into Survivor? And what was the process? How did everything work?
Well, initially, I've kind of stayed in decent shape most of my life. Since I've been about 16, I've been training. So I was in decent shape already. And when the applications for Survivor opened up, something just told me, Rob, this is for you. Go for it. And I sent my application in on the last day. They were closing that same day. And literally it was closing in a matter of hours, and I sent through my first video. It was nothing more than, like a lot of guys I've seen their entries videos, it's drone shots, it's all this complicated stuff, making fires, climbing trees, all this just focus. And I thought, no, man, let me just speak. Let me show them who I am. Let me open my heart chakra and speak to them.
Yeah.
And that's all I did. It's literally a video of me sitting in a room for 2 minutes and talking. And yeah.
I think that's probably the way to go, because when I watch the intro videos, they're so cringe, and it's the same thing over and over again. They're always like, I can't make a fire, and they try and make it funny, but everyone's got the exact same idea. And if you change the idea, you're going to stand out from the others.
But when I went on it, I saw they said they don't give a shit about your video quality and all of that. They just want to see what you say, basically. So what was the rounds basically like? So you go, how many rounds do you go through before you get chosen to be put on Survivor?
Yeah. So the first one is the video and just basic questions they ask you. And I got a response the following morning to say you through to the next round. In total, it was a 3-month process from applying to actually being on the island. The second round, they will then request, if you want, you can send another video. But it's mainly much more questions now. It's like a very long questionnaire you're filling in there, and they're asking you everything now. Personal questions. You know, you're doing a lot of psychometric evaluations online.
They're obviously trying to get the right mix of people, basically.
Yeah. So like I said, I spoke to that girl that actually did a master's or like honors in psychology, and she worked for one of these like psychometric testing things that actually worked for Mnet and that. And they were saying that they're looking for people in these tests that will actually sort of, some will create drama, some will, control the game, and they're looking for a specific type of people. And these tests, apparently, they obviously determine who's going to come on and stuff.
Yeah.
Literally, the one is like, I think I sat for like 2 hours doing one online eventually. Like,
really?
It's a couple
is that part of the application process?
Yes.
That's crazy.
And then you get like complete silence for about a month, where they say, look, we're not going to give you a response for about a month right now, so just hang in there. And then eventually they then need to meet you in person, so they flew me to Joburg.
Okay, because you're obviously from KZN.
Correct, yeah. And then from there it was now physical tests. They check everything in your blood and your lungs, your breathing, just make sure that you can actually survive out there.
That's one of the things we were wondering.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, obviously they need to make sure that you can't infect anyone else there with anything dangerous as well.
Yeah.
So they check
put someone with
everything under the
Ebola
sun.
Got Franco with mumps over here.
The mumps is over, bro. I don't have mumps anymore.
And then that's when you also meet the psychologist for the first time personally.
Psychologist, that's
crazy. I think the psychologist's role is in this, actually, like the whole application process. Like, I don't think that at all.
That's madness.
They put a lot of effort into who they let on the island. It's a stringent process.
Yeah. And now, just going back a little bit, you've got quite an interesting background as a person. You've got sort of like a Trevor Noah vibe.
Yeah, like that's exactly what
background.
everyone says. Like it's very much like Trevor Noah. Yeah.
We just wanted to have like a little bit of an insight into life growing up for you, how it was, things that you've experienced.
Like to know that,
it's a story of a kid being born in obviously a mixed race family.
Yeah.
And at first you're very confused. You want to fit in with the black people, you want to fit in with the white people, you want to fit in with the color. You don't really know where you belong.
Yeah.
But as you grow older, you're exposed to so many different cultures now. You learn these different cultures, and I think when you learn the cultures, you understand them, you learn to love them, and it prevents a lot of friction. I think people have a lot of problems in this country because they don't take the time to learn and understand each other's cultures.
I agree with that.
All these cultures are based on principles of love, and eventually I realized that so you all these different people.
Yeah,
it's actually an advantage because now it allows you to get along with others much better. So it was a blessing. It really was.
Yeah, I can see by your mindset already just how you worked with people on Survivor, on the show itself. Yeah, I can see you think a lot.
I can put myself in other people's shoes.
Yeah, no, it's good.
From different walks of life.
So your dad's Austrian and your mom's South African, Zulu. Yeah.
So were you raised Zulu?
No, I was raised like I was obviously more exposed to the Zulu culture than the Austrian culture because we didn't go to Austria that much. It was maybe only every second or third year I'd go to Austria. So yes, I was raised a lot with the Zulus. That's why I speak such fluent Zulu. I actually think in Zulu a lot of the time.
Oh, really?
Okay. That's crazy.
So yes, but I was equally exposed. My parents made sure that
Yeah, that's very interesting. I know your parents still together.
Correct, they are. Yeah,
that's amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Congrats to them.
Thank you.
Yeah. So another thing that we just want to ask, basically pre-Survivor, is the training process. So when they said you are accepted into Survivor now, did you have a certain amount of time to be like? Because now I can see you are like a very like jacked. You obviously like fitness. Did you have some time to be like, okay, now I've got to up my training. Now I've got to do endurance
for Survivor itself.
So I started training the moment I applied, actually. When I applied, I told them I would be on the island. The way I believe things is you mustn't doubt it yourself. The moment you start doubting something, you're disturbing the manifestation process.
Yeah.
So you need to know for sure that you're getting this. So I started training the moment I applied. So I had about almost 3 months to actually train. I was training flat out as if I was going on that island. I didn't know where the island is. I didn't know when I'm going, but I trained flat out for it.
Okay.
And I read that you do a lot of meditation. You're into the spiritual side of things.
That's where everything stems from.
Is it?
That's what changed my life.
And it's really helped you as a person because a lot of people always look for, like, it's that kind of feeling where you know something's wrong with yourself, but you don't know what it is. And people are always trying to find out how to fix that inside you. There's like a pain or something, but you don't know what it is.
But I mean, none of us are really spiritual, I don't think.
No, so I'm Christian, and I
mean more with your mindset.
Yeah, so I haven't delved into that myself, and obviously if I ever feel like maybe there's something that I can't fix or something, I'd lean towards doing something like that, something that could maybe help me in that aspect.
But I mean, we'll touch on it after because I know you've got plans to go with Buddhists and stuff.
That's cool though, So is that for real? Because we read that, and is that a real thing? You're going to go next year for 40 days?
Yes, as soon as I see a big enough gap. Obviously I can't leave the country now, there's too much going on. But as soon as I see a gap where I can switch off for 40 days, I'm gone.
And you're going to go to Nepal?
Yes.
And what do you, I mean, what happens there? I mean,
sorry, let's put it this way. My life was in ruins about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Really not a good space. Financially, love-wise, I was not in a good space.
Yeah.
And till I started learning about, the mind and how to access different
that's very interesting.
Meditation and chakras, energy. When I started playing with that stuff, it opened a whole new world for me. Now I realize anything's possible.
Yeah.
Anything's possible.
That's crazy.
It's awesome to hear.
I mean, Kim and I did yoga for like a year.
Yeah, but I think yoga's become so commercialized.
I don't know.
And I think yoga is one of those things now. It's for the moms that are bored at home.
But at the end of it, I mean, we would lie down and Savasana.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's what it's called. And like you would have to switch off and stuff. And I can't.
Yeah,
I have no idea how to do it.
You're talking about switching off monkey brain. Yeah. So I was blessed enough where the final over the edge moment was I was lucky enough to spend 5 days with a shaman from Brazil. This guy is born and bred in the Amazon, can't speak a word of English. And I was blessed enough to spend 5 days with him. And in those 5 days, he showed me how to switch off monkey brain for the first time in my life.
Okay, that's
You know,
interesting.
they say the mind's always
Yeah.
thinking. Wait, no, that's not true. Once you can silence monkey brain, spirit then speaks. And
And was it? I mean, was it quite a difficult process, or
Yeah,
it
how
was
did
a
that
beautiful
work?
process. It was like a rebirth. I cried for about 3 hours. My shirt was soaking wet. It's a feeling of pure love.
Was this in Brazil where you were doing
No,
this?
no, no. It came to
Okay.
South Africa.
came
Yeah.
in, yeah.
It's something like you cannot explain it. So it's an awakening.
Yeah.
that's incredible to hear. I mean, so you would definitely promote getting more spiritual. 100%.
That's you attract and repel everything in your life, and
Yeah,
when
maybe
you
we
start
should dive
doing
into that a
you
bit
learn
more
how
and
to
see if
attract.
it helps.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. I mean, because like a lot of people obviously struggle with depression and etc. And
Anxiety, yeah.
I mean, it's often suggested to them to do meditation, do that stuff over and above obviously taking
Yeah.
your drugs and shit. But
Yeah. But that's like
it's
more
just
the
interesting, you
the
know?
trance vibe, those people that like acted.
Yeah,
But I think
that's
let's
a
get
bit
into
too
the
much.
nitty gritty. Let's get into the during
We're gonna
survival.
get in during survivor.
The during survival
Okay.
questions are going to come now, and I think
right.
we could probably spend 4 hours
Yeah,
asking you
quite
questions
easily.
about
Let's
what
go for
went
it.
on in survival.
that's why I
But
wrote
yeah.
my questions down.
You came prepared. I got
I
all
got
my
6 pages here.
yeah, so I was a big Survivor fan, and I think a lot of South Africans, because I was speaking to people, telling them obviously, okay, Rob's going to come this weekend, we're going to speak to him, and everyone just remembers that moment when they were young, watching Survivor on SABC 103, and everyone knows that moment. We were all watching the American Survivor. It came to South Africa, it became a South African show, and when everyone started watching it, everyone started formulating questions. You know, how real is it? Are they really struggling? Are they really there for that long? Obviously, some things have to be catered for. That's
Yeah, what happens behind the scenes, basically.
behind the scenes. Yeah, that's exactly what people want to know. So, Frey, since you have a list, I'm going to let you go with the first question that you want to ask.
Okay. Yeah, I want to know, do you legitimately have to shit in a hole?
You have to take a boskak.
That's one of the first questions everyone asks. And yes, you do. It is very real. There's no long drops. There's no toilets, nothing. You're on your own out there.
Toilet paper, nothing.
No toilet paper, nothing. So
Jeez.
they kind of advise us. Sorry about that.
No worries.
They do give us a booklet
Okay.
when we get to the island.
Yeah.
And we sit and we read that. And in that booklet, it does give you advice to say like, okay, listen, don't use leaves.
Yeah.
As a tribe, you must go find an area of the island that you guys are going to we call it Coconut Grove.
Okay.
That's a nice.
And then you do your business there, try and make it as close to the ocean as possible. Then you just rinse yourself off in the ocean.
Oh, I see. So it's not actual. Sorry, it's gross, but it's not actual wiping. You're rinsing yourself.
Yeah.
Sounds better.
Yeah,
But dude, I think that's a very clean way of doing it. If you think
it's the
about
cleanest
it.
you can
And it
do
works
in those
effectively, yeah.
circumstances, yeah.
Yeah, you
Okay,
don't
and
want to get
then-
a rash from a leaf on your
Yeah.
ass.
Exactly,
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah. My next question, right? The friendships and the script, because obviously Survivor has to tell a story, right?
Yeah.
Like these guys know I like making stories on my Instagram and stuff. Obviously they portray a story throughout the whole thing. You friends with Nathan, you friends with this guy, Jarrell now is doing this. Is that all real, or is that sort of like, do they find the moments and then make it part of the story, or do they try to put it in the story themselves?
No, they do not control the game in any way. They
Oh,
have
really?
very
That's
little.
awesome, yeah.
They don't step in any way. But what they do is, I know that when we applied for it, they knew so much about us that they knew that we'd get along. Certain characters
part
would
of that
clash.
psychological
You know,
testing,
so
yeah.
with Nate and I, it was either we'd get along very well or we would completely hate each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
There was no middle ground between the two of us because we a lot alike.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they knew that, no, most likely these guys will get along. If there is friction, it will be proper friction as well.
Yeah.
But obviously, when he got injured, it kind of, he wasn't a threat to me anymore in that
Yeah.
way. So
Yeah.
I kind of, actually made things better because now
Yeah.
he wasn't a threat to me. So it made me.
So
notice him
I'm
less.
just going to say it straight up. This episode, well, this season of Survivor was probably the best one they've had so far.
Yeah.
Okay, because I've watched them all. Like I said, I'm a big Survivor fan. And the drama that you, Nate, Nicole, the whole
Steffi,
group,
yeah.
that the drama that you guys created and the way you were
The amigos.
the way you
Yeah.
guys were controlling that game, it was
It
mind-boggling.
was
to
unbelievable,
me.
yeah.
Okay, so first thing I want to speak about as well, that Mike I know also wants to speak about, and you somehow created this the stigma that Rocco was a very big threat.
Yeah.
Even though you're just as big of a threat, you painted him as this you painted him as this like Superman, and everyone's looking at it. It's like, hold on, bro. You also dagged
But it's
yourself.
you,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy
Yeah,
because us
yeah.
sitting on the couch watching, we were like, "How are you doing this? How are you doing this?"
It's like, yeah, how did you go about doing these things? Like, what were you thinking? Like, how did you control the game like that?
It's really just, as a person, I do the best I can for the people I am around.
Yeah.
And they saw with Saula especially that we were a family. I was going to do whatever it took to get these people to the end. They knew that for a fact. There was no doubt about it. When you really honest about something and you say it, a person can actually see it. Their subconscious can tell that this person is speaking from the heart right now. This is very real. They especially do believe what they're saying. And I did believe that no matter what, I'm taking my tribe to the end. So Saula obviously was a good ground to start with because there was a solid family. Okay, so I had really good ties with them. But what was actually happened was when we started swapping the tribes, we had very prominent characters like Sipe going out there and making her own new people to bring in. And, we were just infecting every single tribe. So it got to a point where even though we were in the tribe with Rocco, etc., no one wanted to do anything against a Saula member because they knew that we've infiltrated every single tribe. So if you come for one of us here now, the others are going to get you.
That's incredible,
we'd infiltrated the whole thing.
I think they did a poor job at portraying how that actually worked because they didn't really show that on the program.
It was definitely the whole of Saula. We had, Nicole also very good at forging strong relationships. She will convince you of anything.
Yeah, she was an incredible participant.
So she created a lot of drama for the show as well.
She's bringing her people. It was people were started realizing that Saula is controlling this game, and anyone who says or does anything against him is the first to go home. And you saw Rocco was the one to start telling people, "Hey, Rob is doing this," and that's when he went home.
Kim and I put money before Survivor started. We put money on Rocco to win. It was one of the bets
to win.
Yeah.
No, I saw you. I don't think he was very good at the social game.
It was literally the first episode where you got to put your bets in. So I said, okay, I like
you
this
just went
guy.
for the big strong guy.
Yeah, the strongest guy. Those guys, it's hard for the toughest guys or biggest guys
because they're going to get nailed at the end, especially.
You keep them around for the challenges, but the moment you get to merge, those are the people you want gone.
But that's sort of my question as well. How did you disguise yourself as not because you won all the challenges?
That's what we were saying. Yeah,
you painted Rocco as this Superman guy, and everyone's sitting there Rob, you're doing pretty good at the challenges yourself. You're also very big. You're about the same size as Rocco. There's two Supermans here.
Yeah, Rocco is the thing is he's such a good person. He's generally from the bottom of his heart. He is literally Superman. I couldn't have given him a better name.
Yeah,
he is not going to win you Survivor.
But he's also he's also got a very childish innocence to him. He's a very pure person. And Survivor, you need to be a bit of good and evil.
Okay.
So have that side
in that aspect, obviously that's where I ran circles around Rocco. He didn't have that color, that killer instinct that you need in a game of Survivor.
That's true. You have a question?
Well, that's one of the questions that I wanted to ask was, coming into Survivor, you obviously had a strategy that you thought would play out as a person. Did you ever feel at any time through the season that you weren't in control of your strategy? Was it day-to-day type of thing? How did you work it?
The best advice I can give you is to not have too much of a strategy. That game is constantly changing. It's adapting. It's evolving every second of every moment. So if you're going to think too long-term and say, okay, this is exactly what's going to happen when it happens, you're going to miss opportunities. The moment you're going to miss what's actually really going on. So my only real strategy was to stay true to my original lines. Get them to the end because I knew that there'll be a lot of blindsiding, a lot of backstabbing in this game. But if I could stay true to my original promise, my first promise I made in this game, and take it through to the end, then at least I can walk out with my head held up high to say.
And that was a real thing that you really wanted to do. You really wanted to take those three to the final. And that was a real you never ever doubted that.
Never doubted it. There was never a time. Obviously, we eventually had to start take out CPay because I felt she was really coming for me. I truly believed it was.
They didn't portray that well for me either. The whole CPay threat.
But I think there's a lot. I mean, it's an hour episode.
It's difficult to cut it into.
It's very
all of that.
There's so much that goes on. The editors are amazing.
Yeah.
How they show that. I mean, there's so much more that happened in Ireland that I wish I could tell you guys about. But
there's just too much.
It's just too much. But the main key or advice is don't have too much of a long-term locked-in plan because you will miss the other doors in advance that are opening.
So with the actual recording, I mean, so there's cameramen around. I mean, how long are they around during your sleeping time, or do they ever just disappear?
24/7, they're around you.
That's crazy.
There's day crew and then there's night crew. The day crew consists of a lot more guys. They got the sound booms, etc., etc. But the night crew, it's just like two guys. They keep an eye on you guys. Any action happens, they
start filming.
And was there any like? Would you communicate with them? And
you're not allowed to speak to the cameramen and stuff like that. You're only allowed to speak to a CP, content producer. So they are trained to know what they can and cannot tell you. Remember, information is important. We're always trying to dig information from them.
Okay, that's crazy.
Because you often get taken on your own, basically.
And they film you individually speaking to the camera.
Yeah, so you'll do that maybe every second day or so.
And then do you just speak off the bat in that situation? Or do they ask you specific questions to try lead you in a certain way?
They will ask you certain questions. Like to just recall your memory to say, hey, look at this challenge. What was going through your mind? And you have to speak in the present tense.
That's what I find that with a lot of shows. I mean, it looks like they're talking after the show's ended, but they're referring to it like it's just happened now, for example. So you'll talk about an event that happened a while back, but talking about it like it's just happened.
They try to get it as close to when it actually happened.
Yeah.
Like, when really things happen that, pull Rob aside, we need to get his mind frame on what's going on here right now, especially while the emotions are fresh. They like that, but they can't always do it because they don't want to disturb the game too much. Remember, they don't want to disturb the game. They want things to happen as if they weren't there.
But it's quite interesting like that, because also how the interviewees basically tell the story is that you can't really tell, say for example, that they lost the challenge or whatever. They tell it in such a way that you don't know until the final moment of their personal interview, which is quite cool, I find. But
correct.
So then, how did it feel winning $1 million like that?
Oh, that's an important question.
Like that. You didn't win it like that. It was, how long were you on the island?
39 days. Well, in total, about 50 days we were actually out there.
When did you know that it was actually Samoa that you were going to?
When we rocked up in Samoa.
Really?
Yes. So
how did they get you on
I read that.
They you travel with a chauffeur or one of the crew, because they fly over 150 South Africans to do this thing. So you fly with one member of the crew, and they just have your passport, everything. So you're just hopping from country to country, not knowing where your final destination is.
What?
And you're for there. Obviously, eventually your phone is taken away just to make sure you can't communicate back. Because at this point, no one knows where they're looking.
But when you're there, I mean, do you know that you're in Samoa?
Yes, when you're there, you know you're in Samoa.
When you walk out the plane, they're like, hey, we in Samoa, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did it feel winning $1 million? Like, that's crazy. Winning $1 million like that.
It was incredible. Like, I think we all left the island knowing that I won. So I'd had time to prep it in my mind. I already knew it was coming. I knew it was happening. So, but obviously the moment itself, when you live through it, I think I can safely say it's the happiest moment of my life.
And they just transfer it into your bank account. So how does it work?
Boom.
What about the tax implications?
It's untaxed.
That's amazing, bro.
And the money.
And you got the car, which I was pretty surprised about. I was like, you got the $1 million and the car. Like, that's amazing. So to be honest, like I said, as we're watching it as the viewers, when I was watching it, you were doing so well that we started, like, I think maybe the country as a whole, even some people that I spoke to wanted someone else to come up, because you were doing so well that we wanted an underdog. We
started dominating. I realized that as well. That's why a lot of people started supporting.
The story almost became like we wanted an underdog to come into the show. But then when you got to the final three, I said to everyone, I was like, if he doesn't win this, I'm never watching Star Wars. I was like, I mean, you did it way too well. You did it way too well.
You won 5
immunity. 5, yes. It's international.
It's the record,
which is the most that anyone's ever done.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
But you see, also that was towards the end now. If I was winning like that crazy early days,
you think they would have sent you back in?
Yeah. But luckily that those wins just started coming in.
And did you hold back in the beginning or not in the challenges?
I did. I didn't want to become Rocco. So
target on your back.
Yeah. Exactly. You can't be too strong. It's all about balance. My favorite word is balance. And it's all about balance. Just
and I can see in your lifestyle as well, obviously. That's crazy, man. And then how long after the show was it until they shot the final where we all saw it on TV?
Okay, so we were on the island first, I think by basically the 1st of February we were all on the island.
Okay.
And I was back home mid-March. Okay. And it started airing mid-May. So about 2 months later it started airing, and it aired for 4 months. So it was about 6 months that I went through from getting back to the island to the actual final travel.
I never knew it was that long.
That's a long time,
That's insane.
That's crazy.
I thought you went overnight and then came back the next day.
I'd be like, I want my $1 million already, bro. Waiting 6 months. Like, come on.
I want to tell people now.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Another question that I wanted to ask on the whole Survivor thing. What happens when you get injured on the island? Is there medical staff on the island? How does that work?
So you're very well taken care of medically there.
Okay.
I think you need to be.
They've got a strong medical team to keep you safe at all times. Before and after every challenge, they just check up and make sure we're fine, before and after every tribal council, everything. They medically, they do an amazing job.
They were on the ball.
Like even while we're out on challenges, they come back in the camp to make sure that there's nothing, shake out the coconut trees, I'm sure, things like that, just to make sure that we're as safe as possible.
Okay, so that's more than I thought it was. I thought they would just be like, in case. Okay,
no, they don't want us to die. They don't. They don't try to kill us here. They still want the show to actually. But with food wise, no assistance.
Yeah, and then one more question I just want to ask on, because you mentioned it now, tribal council. How real is that feeling at tribal council? Do you really feel like, shit, I might go home today, or what's going on? Because I saw there was a few times where you guys literally stopped the show and you guys were speaking amongst each other, like, who are we voting out tonight? Like, you guys got confused.
Just interrupted.
Yeah, Nico would be like, you guys want to chat for 5 minutes or whatever,
Tribal council it actually goes on for far longer than the show's an edit. You guys maybe see 10 minutes of it. Technically, and most tribal councils go on for probably 2 hours.
But what does it entail though? Well, I mean, why does it go on for that long?
Because we talk a lot, and obviously they edit and they show the most important parts. There's a lot of talking that goes on in there.
I thought you guys just literally pitched up there and cast your votes. Yeah, because it's safe for this season where there's been a bit of chatting from what we've seen.
No, but I wasn't ever afraid of tribal council. Every tribal council I went into, I actually told them, or told the cameras. They didn't obviously air it, but exactly who my tribe votes for, or my alliance will vote for, and the opposing alliance will vote for. I knew every time someone wrote my name down that it's going to be written down. That's exactly crazy. As the vote. And it's because I try not to think about what I don't want. Yeah. Literally, don't let it come into your head. Don't think about going home. Don't be scared of going home, because you're actually busy creating.
Definitely taking a lot of notes from this.
Don't be afraid.
So you would say, because of the mindset that you went into Survivor with, and that spirituality that you came in with, really brought you through?
That's the only thing.
Because I actually bumped into Steffi at the gym. And she seemed kind of traumatized. I bumped into. She seemed like kind of traumatized about the whole situation. Like she was really taken aback. A little bit. I don't want to bother her too much on the training. But she seemed pretty traumatized about the whole situation.
Yeah, Mike actually has a photo. We'll put it on screen now.
I took a photo
put it on
with her
screen
as well.
now. Obviously, Mike at the gym with Steffi. So Mike obviously met her. But how did you get through the process?
The Survivor, it's
hectic.
Emotionally, mentally, it takes a toll. Even your body gets nailed. So we do have access to psychologists after the game to make sure that we're fine and in a good state.
Oh my word!
Because you must think about it. You take it out of your life, and they say it only takes 21 days to form habit. You're on that island for 39 days. There's a point I even said in the game. It feels like I'm never leaving. It feels like I've been here forever and I'm never leaving.
So was it the beginning that was harder than? Did you get used to
eventually get so used to
it?
You start forgetting about the real world back home. Sure. That's how deep I got in that game, at least on myself. Like you start thinking you're a savage.
And that's interesting, because I would always like to know, like, is it that tolling on your body?
Unbelievable.
I mean,
and food, you don't get any food. They don't help you with food at all.
Everything we ate.
Yeah.
So
no one gives you little Snickers on the side.
Nothing.
So that happiness when the steers come is real.
It's very real. You don't lose 16 kilos in 39 days if there's food you're getting.
I've got to give Steers a round of applause for that marketing though. Every time a Steers advert came on while I was watching Survivor, I was like, I want a bacon cheeseburger. Honestly, I was like, you guys are doing it so well, because I see how hungry you guys are.
Yeah.
They put a Steers burger and I'm like, I'm hungry now. I want a Steers burger. But they did really well.
What was your favorite thing to eat on the island that wasn't like an award or anything?
Yeah. Oh, so look, Dante and I were able to get fish. So they didn't show it obviously because they're focusing a lot on the social game. They didn't really show that other survival side of it. Rocco also caught some fish, but eventually it was just Dante and I that were getting decent food for everybody. I caught an eel. I caught a coconut crab. Those huge. But I had to let it go because they're endangered. So
there was actual coconut crabs there because those things can grow.
They're huge. It was humongous. I had to wrestle this thing for like 15 minutes out of the rock. It was. When I come back with this thing, the whole tribe is jumping, excited. Yeah, we're eating it. And they're like, sorry,
you gotta
guys.
put this back.
That's so cool, dude. Like, did no one see me trying to catch this coconut crab and tell me that?
At least put it on camera.
No, they let it play out. But then before I killed it, they made sure they wanted to make sure that is this what we think it is, and then once they got confirmation that it's
just so hectic.
That's where they go.
So I just want to take a break, obviously, because we're gonna go into post Survivor now. So let's quickly take a break, and then we'll be back in 2 minutes.
Cool.
Okay, guys. So we're back from our little break. We're gonna move on to post Survivor now. So obviously, if you win the game of Survivor, everyone in South Africa, or most people in South Africa, have watched you now, and you've obviously built up a brand and a bit of fame. And how's that been dealing with that kind of fame? And we were speaking about it off camera now, but you said you went to Carnival City and they showed you on the camera, and you could almost not even get out of Carnival City. You needed security and everything to help you. Like, how's it been dealing with that?
Yeah, that's not a normal occurrence. That was the worst I've actually come across. But in general, it's really not too bad. I think people really respect your space. So I don't really get bombarded at all. And I'm a people's person. I like speaking to people. So if someone comes up to me and wants to have a quick chat, I'm all for it. I'm all for taking a picture with you and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I'm really happy. Like, South Africans are really nice people.
Yeah, I think like Mark was saying, he saw Steffi at the gym. Like he obviously got the photo and he didn't want to bother her too much. So I think we respect people, to a certain degree. I think it's good. And then, how's it been? What's going to be for Rob next? What's your next goal? What do you want to do?
At the moment, I'm working on increasing my skill sets, especially outdoor stuff. I climbed Mufadi. It's a much more technical climb than Kilimanjaro.
Oh, sure.
It's the highest point.
Kilimanjaro as well. Yeah.
But Mufadi is a bit more technical, so I was getting a bit more of that, practice high altitude. It's in Lesotho, Drakensberg Mountain.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the highest point in South Africa. And then did my scuba diving license so I can dive. Okay. Next, I'll be jumping off planes. I need to get my skydiving license.
Jeez,
I'm building up for something. So what I want to do going forward, I need to be able to know that I'm ready for it all.
And you never thought about maybe like starting behind the scenes, like a vlog or something that shows all of this? I think people would be very interested to see you skydiving, bungee jumping, getting your scuba diving, or something. I see your Instagram, you're active and you post, but you don't really see that much. If you start like a vlog or something where people can really dive into your life, I think people in South Africa would be very interested. Have you ever thought
possibility?
About it?
No, it's definitely a possibility. Going forward, I might just look into it. But I'm preparing for obviously a new show with Mnet. And stuff.
So that is the big talking point, that you're gonna have a big show with Mnet. I don't know how much you can say, what it's gonna be about, or
I obviously can't say
exactly what it's gonna be about.
No, it's similar to Survivor. You can't speak about these things.
Okay, they obviously sign a contract with you. You can't say much. But that's very exciting. How is it speaking with Mnet, trying to make a show, and is it chaos or is it is it difficult or not?
No, it's pretty chill. Mnet's are really nice people. They really are great. Like things, once you're part of the Mnet family, it's literally like a family. They bring you in and you feel at home there.
And really I think you're the perfect like spokesperson or host or show presenter or anything, because you're so diverse in your background and everything. Like we said, you can speak multiple languages. I think you'd be a perfect person to host a show, or present a show, or have your own show, because you'd be able to communicate and speak with so many different people from all different types of backgrounds. Because I think you do understand a few people's backgrounds, and you obviously know more than most people.
Yeah, so I'm sure you'll be good. I mean, you said you also... So you lost 16 kgs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, have you regained it, or...?
No, I put in about 12 of those kgs.
Did it come back quickly, or...?
No, long term. Like, it can easily come back if you just sit and eat and get fat. But
that's not
it's trying to put on muscle as much as possible. It's been really hard with all the traveling. But it's
slowly getting back up.
So when you talk about all the traveling and stuff, what have you mostly been doing? Is it just like this?
No, so I've been doing a lot of speaking publicly. For me, it's very important to try and motivate people. Like, for schools, for example, if I can, I even go speak for free there. But a lot of corporates have been calling me through to, motivate, stuff like that, and strategy. A lot of companies want to know, it's also leadership skills. They saw, me controlling or leading.
Okay,
so how do you inspire that kind of loyalty from people and stuff? So I was actually sharing insights into my mind. So I've been traveling a lot doing that kind of stuff.
I think Survivor, from what we've spoken about on and off camera, the amount of stuff you've told us, it sounds like it's more complicated than any working corporate environment. The decisions and the strategies and the tactics you have to use, basically, it's pretty incredible.
And then how did you have a job before Survivor? Obviously, you were working.
Yeah.
Did you go back to that job, or did you do a complete 180 now?
Because how did you get?
I see you started a company as well.
Yeah. So I am part of an IT company.
Okay.
I've always been into computers, cameras especially.
Yeah, I love cameras.
So originally, that's what I was always doing. I was shooting videos and photos of weddings.
Were you freelancing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was my own business. I had my guys with me. My brothers were actually working for me as well, but now they've taken over the company because I can't do
all of that now. So then obviously post Survivor, you didn't decide to go back into that. You're obviously going on a different path now.
Yes, yeah. But I have my drone, I have my GoPro, my DSLR. Wherever I am, I'm flying.
You're so suited to make like the best South African vlogger. You've got all the equipment. I say just do it. You've got all the equipment. Try it out. I'm pretty sure, like, just speaking to you now, you can already see like how exciting your life's been and how you know, everything's progressing for you. People would love to see that kind of stuff, you know. I mean,
should go for it.
There's so many things that you stumble across YouTube and you're like, how do these people get views? You're like, what?
I mean, also with our
podcast,
I mean, thank God you are good at editing and stuff.
Yeah, we would be nowhere without
otherwise Mike and I would be screwed. And
yeah, well, the
we've all got
podcast is
full-time
easy.
jobs, and we just decided, hey, let's do a podcast. And we actually put it together.
Yeah, so the editing of a podcast is obviously a lot easier. You just cut the clips and put them together. But if you do something like a vlog, or you know, there's a lot of creators.
Have you seen Mama Farty video?
No, I have to go watch it.
Jeez, that's proper editing.
Is it on YouTube and everything?
No, I haven't put it on YouTube yet, but I'll post it and we can.
Okay, that's amazing. Yeah,
cool.
We'll put a link to it so people can start watching it.
Then you can see kind of what I like, and I don't do that for fun. I do that out of passion.
Do you do more of like a Sam Calder vibe? You know Sam Calder?
Yes, I know exactly Sam Calder.
Do you do that type
very
of
great inspiration?
Yeah, Sam Calder's story and like the way his storytelling in his like he also used to do like travel videos, but now
Sam Calder.
So he's a YouTube creator, right?
Yeah.
This guy's videography, bro.
Is he the one that does the
Unbelievable.
He goes to like Dubai and does all of those.
So he's been to all these places. He travels and he does all this amazing stuff.
He's showing me a few.
Bro, his videos are incredible, bro. But like so there's this big genre that hit YouTube and it was like all about travel, and then so it all starts with the Watchtower of Turkey, right? This is a video that came out that was edited brilliantly by this Italian guy, and it became this whole fad on YouTube, right, where you put like a lot of hyperlapses, quick cuts, and like it looks amazing how they put
transitions.
It together. Oh my word, it looks great, right? But then it became so oversaturated, where Sam Calder now has started leaving that a bit. Still good editing, but he's gone more into like storytelling in his videos, and it's incredible, bro. It's really good, and you can watch it for free on YouTube.
Yeah,
bro, I keep saying it. I think this is the 4th podcast I've said it in, but people watch 60 Days to Wait on DSTV sometimes. It's like there's so much better content.
Yeah, but also YouTube, before the podcast, we were talking about how all these celebrities are also moving to YouTube.
A lot. Yeah.
They're doing. I mean, Jack Black's is awful, but
but Jack Black now. You have Will Smith, soon Rob. You know, so
I'm throwing it in there.
I think it's a very good platform for people to grow their brand, to do exactly what they want to do. Because remember, you don't have a producer saying you can do this, you can do that. You don't have a director saying you have to do this, you have to do that. It's exactly what you wanted. You can have it exactly the way you want it. And I think that freedom is what someone like Will Smith is enjoying now, you know, where he's always been told, okay, you're going to be this person, you're going to do it in this way.
But he did that damn YouTube Rewind video. And
the YouTube Rewind killed him a bit, bro. But like his content is pretty good in general because his life's so exciting. That's what I'm saying with Rob. You're traveling so much, you're doing all these cool things. Film it, put it out there. I'm telling you now, people will watch.
Yeah, but I was looking at some stats as well with the entertainment and media industry in South Africa. The growth that it's seen, I can't remember the time frame. It's exponential. It's crazy how much profit they brought into the country.
I think a big thing is I think more people have access to. Obviously, you know, we struggled since 1994. Not everyone had access to all these kind of things. Now you can see more people have TVs in their homes. They have DSTV. Yeah. So I think that really plays a big part in more people obviously watching. But yeah, so I wanted to speak a bit about the entertainment industry in a whole in South Africa. So like The Bachelor. I see you've been chilling with Michelle Reddy from The Bachelor a lot. You guys have been doing a few things together.
We're friends.
I don't know if we're going to get a bit of a romance coming out of that. Survivor, Bachelor couple.
Survivor meets Bachelor.
We're just putting it out there. But yeah, do you think now that you've been part of Survivor, that shows like The Bachelor, how do you perceive these shows now that you've been part of a reality TV show?
I mean, do you think a lot, if The Bachelor's a lot like Survivor, does a lot take place behind the scenes on The Bachelor, for example?
I'm sure that is the case because, I mean, these things, I think The Bachelor, they shoot it over like 2 months as well, at least 2 months.
Yeah.
So a lot goes on that you unfortunately get to see on the edit, just like in Survivor. But I can't really be sure of how they do it and how real it is, etc. And
you and Michelle didn't ever speak like, this is how my show worked, this is how your show worked. Or
we do. Yeah, but that's not my story to tell. That's something you could ask
her one day. Yeah,
just like how whatever we say, that stays between us, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you can put us in contact with her. Have another guest on the
show. Maybe just for a date, but I'll do that. But so leading on to that now, how do you perceive the American reality TV shows? Because I think those are like a big load of shit, bro. Like I think they were so scripted.
But they make a reality show out of anything there.
Yeah. There's a lot of reality shows.
I would imagine that like Survivor is probably standard across the board, whether it's American or South African.
I do trust
the same type of.
It's the same franchise, the same rules apply. So I think Survivor, it's very similar whether you do it in America or South Africa. I think these things, it's a franchise you sort of buy into. So you have to stick to those guidelines. So.
And what type of content do you consume mainly? Do you watch DSTV more? Do you watch sport? Do you watch YouTube? Because I see now that you know Sam Calden, obviously, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
What do you consume most? What is it that when you're chilling and you want to watch something or consume content now, what do you consume most?
I like to choose what I watch or listen to.
Yeah.
So I actually control anything and everything I let into my mind, because I know the impact that if you sit and watch nonsense on TV and you let that into your mind, you're going to manifest nonsense.
I agree.
So I choose very carefully what I watch. I like watching documentaries, informative stuff, things I can learn from, things that can grow me, not just sit and numb
mindless
me down.
TV.
I don't like that mindless nonsense.
No, yeah.
We're pretty much the same, man. We're all very much into documentaries.
Definitely,
and all that
bro.
stuff.
Big believer in
Not 90 Days to Wed.
Yeah, no.
Just in case Franco didn't mention it.
Jeez,
this
like,
episode.
because I when I see those type of shows, I'm like, why are you guys pouring money into this?
But you also watch that like House Hunters International.
But that's interesting. I see different cultures. I go overseas. I see how they live there. I see their apartments. I see it's
I
interesting.
apologize.
I've actually seen that show as well.
Yeah.
Cool,
Yeah.
Sorry, it's cool. Yeah. I'm a big believer in the content that you consume and who you're listening to has a big impact on your life.
Very big.
Seeps into your
Especially with the
life,
state of documentaries at the moment. I mean, they're just coming out and there's some brilliant ones.
Yeah. So going into documentaries, I think we spoke about this off camera, but one of the topics we want to address is Game Changers. And that's a documentary that's come off now.
Yeah.
Obviously, Game Changers, for those of you who don't know, it's basically leading towards a plant-based diet. If I had to sum it up in one sentence, it's a plant-based diet will do better for you athletically. Okay, so a lot of people know that you can now get sufficient proteins and all the kind of stuff from plants, right?
Yeah.
But whether can it give you that athletic ability, people are still skeptical about. So I don't know if you watch podcasts a lot, but Joe Rogan, obviously, you know Joe Rogan's podcast. He had
It was a 3
the
hours
producer,
and 40.
and I watched the whole thing, and I was so entertained, bro.
It was
But
interesting.
yeah, so he first had Chris Kresser come online, and they spoke about debunking it. So they had this episode where they debunked the whole Game Changers, okay? Then the producer, James Wilkes, he was like, no, I want to come on and defend the documentary myself. He came on, and for 3 hours and 40 minutes, they were literally going at each other, and they were saying, okay, what's true, what's not true? So we wanted to get, since you're so into fitness, and you obviously, you look at what you consume and everything, what is your opinion on plant-based diets? And do you think they help? Do you think they don't help? What is your diet at the moment?
Look, I would be a fool to tell you that eating meat is the best thing you can do for yourself.
Yeah.
Part of what that shaman actually did was, before I saw him those 5 days, I had to go completely vegan for a week to cleanse the body, to actually clean out all the nonsense that eating meat leaves in the system. So definitely, I do believe a vegan diet is the way forward.
Okay.
I just still need to figure out how I'm going to do that myself, because I'm a Zulu guy and I love meat.
That's exactly what my next question was going to be. So
I'm working towards
African culture has meat
yes, everywhere.
in it. It's like almost sometimes in most like ceremonies, it's the heart of the ceremony itself, right?
Yeah, but not even like African culture and ceremonies. I mean, South Africa as a whole.
Yeah,
I mean,
we love
meat.
Prize.
Yeah.
That's what we live off.
So so how do you think that affects people trying to go vegan? Because like,
yeah,
it's a tough thing to like go
It is tough, and believe me, I'm hoping we can speak in a year's time and I can say I'm halfway there. At least if I can start off vegetarian, or at least minimize especially the red meat, go to fish instead. I really want to do it, because I do know that it works.
So tell us your diet now. If you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you eat? Do you have a schedule?
Yes, I eat 6 meals a day.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So do I, but the wrong meals.
Yeah, like
McDonald's.
Yeah, it's a balanced diet that my coach Steph put me on. Coach Essie is what they call him.
Okay.
He's one of the best in the industry, and he's got me on a diet that is really good. It balances everything: your plants, your protein, your carbohydrates, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I would say that I believe in when it comes to this type of thing is balance. I think that's too much of anything is probably going to be bad for you.
Correct.
So would you say that you want to go completely plant-based, completely vegan, or would you incorporate like a little bit of meat here and there, or like try to balance it out like that?
Because I personally think going completely vegan is my eyes ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I mean, vegetarian I would 100% do for moral and ethical purposes. But I unfortunately fucking love meat.
Yeah, I think if you start off as a process, because if you're just going to go from a huge meat lover to a vegan, that's going to be almost impossible. It's too much of a change. So maybe, gradually start off cutting off red meat. That's what I'm planning on doing. I'm going to try see next year if we can restructure the diet, cut off the red meat completely.
So that was raised a lot in the documentary, actually, red meat. They were saying,
there were some very big claims that were thrown as well, that like red meat and dairy will lead to cancer, and that was debunked, right? They were like, that can't give you cancer. There was no studies.
Well, it was like a 50-50 basically.
It was very like there was no definitive proof, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, though. Do you think being plant-based actually gives you that athletic ability, which no one could prove either? They can't show. They can show you someone that's an athlete that is vegan and is doing well on a plant-based diet, and some sort of athlete.
They sort of bought the approach in that documentary that this is what eating vegetables will do to you, and then they've got all the bodybuilders and the sportsmen and stuff like that. But I mean, let's be honest, over and above the plant-based diets, as you guys have said previously,
they're probably juicing. They're probably juicing, and they're probably taking a shit ton of supplements, bro.
Into account,
because they have that world's strongest man, right? That guy. And bro, dude, if he wants to compete against everyone, they obviously all juicing, bro. You can't tell me those oaks aren't juicing, right?
Of course not.
So the thing is, like, a lot of people are complaining that they didn't take in those factors, But I don't know. I honestly think a plant-based diet with some meat, like we said, just balance it out. If you're just eating meat, because I don't eat a lot of vegetables, bro.
You need to sort your shit out.
I know.
We have more episodes because we need someone to edit our videos. We died from cancer.
I can edit, guys.
Yes, we got Rob. So obviously, I can see the effects of not having enough vegetables, bro. Like, sometimes I feel like I'm too tired. Sometimes I feel like I don't have that energy that day. So I know that if I incorporate more vegetables, it's going to be better for me. But I don't think cutting out meat completely is an option for me either, like we said.
At the moment it feels like it's in the open, especially after that podcast. We don't really know.
They didn't give us a definitive answer, but if you guys are interested, we'll link that in the description as well. It's the podcast with Joe Rogan and those two, as we said, but they go at it and they get so technical, but it's very interesting to watch.
But also Franco always forgets to link everything he says in the video though.
No, but you do the description. But anyway, it's fine. For those who don't know, I'm gonna announce it now, but I'm gonna enter for Survivor.
Yeah.
Right?
We're have Rob here. Franco on Survivor.
It's gonna be, and we're gonna need your guys' help. Share, make sure that they see me. But I might die on the show, so that would be very good content. So I think what we're gonna do is we're going to get Rob to give me a few tips, right? Give me a little breakdown on what you think I should do, what we should look at if I do get accepted, and how do I get accepted, Because obviously we're going to get Rob to help us make a video after this, so just a short clip of him saying something. So obviously when they look at all these thousands of videos, they'll be like, wow, this guy's got a previous Survivor, So hopefully that'll help. But what are your tips for going on Survivor for someone watching at home? Should we go plant-based before?
No. With your video, be authentic. They don't care about drawing shots and making fires. They just want to see you being you. Speak from the heart. That's what's important. They want to see, are you able to speak to that camera and open your heart up to it? Okay. Because that's what they need you to do in the island. So do that. Be authentic. Be yourself. Tell good or bad. Tell them who you are. Don't try ever say you're gonna play like Rob. That'll be the first way. They won't consider you because they don't want people to come in and try to imitate.
Yeah, the problem is though for
and
them.
Don't use the Survivor song as well.
Oh no!
Lots of people use that. I think those ones they delete first.
We wanted you to actually walk into like a area.
Yeah, we were like that would have been brilliant entrance for him, like the podcast. But so I think. The video, like I'm thinking for myself, like the video, I hope they see the video and they're like, okay, this stands out.
But what do they specify what they want in the video? Or is it like why you should be on
I've got quite a good idea that we can maybe do.
Okay.
So you sit in front of the camera and you talk. They say whatever you're going to say.
Yeah.
And then I shake the camera and you're like, hey, come on, cameraman, what's wrong with you? And then keep that camera still. And then, sorry.
Yeah.
And then you keep talking. And then shake again. And then eventually like, come on, man, Rob, what? And then I'm like, sorry. And I turn the camera around and I just needed to wipe this thing. So like the whole time I realized this thing was being shot.
Your creativity is out of this world.
I think that'll be a brilliant
that's happening.
Dude, when you get your TV show,
Rob was filming this thing.
Dude, when you get your TV show on Mnet, I hope they put you part of the creative process as well, because that was a brilliant idea that you thought of on the spot.
Like we're gonna do it. So
yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, hopefully they
work.
accept us. But that would be amazing, bro. If we can get me on Survivor, I'll probably my worst fear, and I don't know if it was yours, but it's being the first person voted out.
Oh yeah.
We were saying as we were part of a podcast, and now we got to Franco sit back there. Like, hey, welcome, Oaks. I can't tell if I won or not.
Yeah.
NBA that I saw.
Can those people speak?
No, they can't either. But then again, here's your first mistake. You're fearing it, which means you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Now,
like you said through the podcast, you don't think like that.
Yeah.
Don't think about it.
And then tips for on the game, during the game, while you're
strategy, shit like that. Yeah.
On the game, you need to really just get a suss of that environment as soon as possible. The people, that game is more social than anything. I don't care how strong you are, whatever it is. It's a social game. So really make good alliances. Form genuine bonds with people. Okay. Don't run around trying to backstab everyone. I mean, I remember this guy called Seamus or something. He was like the first one voted out of another season.
Okay, I remember
because he came in playing too hard, too fast.
I remember that.
Like, whoa. Calm, slow down, just gone,
Yeah.
So ease up, ease into it. Trust is the key. Get people to trust you. Don't go and make alliances everywhere either, because now you're saturating yourself all over the show. Okay. So if I'm seeing you talking to everyone, I'm going to be like, whoa, no.
Yeah, so our conversation means nothing because you're telling them something else.
So find the key individuals. So what I was always scoping out was key individuals. So instead of controlling 20 people, you find 5 key individuals. Control those 5 people, which will then they will control their own ones. It becomes a web. And you can put yourself in the center, and that way I never needed to speak to Maba really, because I knew that whatever conversation I had with Mike would go and tell Maba exactly what needs to be done, etc., etc. So I'm not oversaturating myself.
But I mean, that's a lot of trust, because it's easy for. I mean, you necessarily went in there with out the intention to screw people over.
Yeah.
But people that you form the alliance with, say the amigos, you never know what they're thinking, but luckily you trusted them, and it worked.
You have to trust someone. So like Nicole, I knew I could trust to a certain degree, especially Nicole I could trust, Dural I could trust. So having 2 Mpimpis is what you call them in Zulu.
Okay.
They're your 2 snitches or your insider.
Yeah.
So they would both go and they would find out what all these other people are talking about, and they'd come back and tell me the stories. Now, if the stories don't match, then I know one of them are lying to me.
Okay.
But having 2 people is better than having one.
Yeah.
Now you're relying on one person.
Sitting on like your king chair, just waiting for.
I won't because when I watched how I thought at a stage Dural was going to ask you to marry him, because he was the most loyal person to you I've ever seen in my life. I was like, oh my word.
True friend. True friend. Dural's a true friend.
Yeah.
That's cool though.
Before we got into merge, he was always in the chopping block, always in the outs.
Yeah.
So when we first met, the first thing I said to him, he said to me, "Look, Rob, I've always been in trouble here in this game."
Yeah.
I said, "It'll never happen again. Stick with me. We'll go to the end."
Bro, another question we have. Dural only ever came from the 2nd episode. Do you remember?
Yeah, he didn't show in the beginning. Yeah.
Was he in the first episode?
He was, yeah, but the editor...
He was hardly shown,
the edit was bad,
And we were like, when did this guy get onto the island?
Imagine the footage they have to cut through.
Yeah, no, it must be crazy.
If they have a daytime and a nighttime crew, they've got to pick an hour.
That's crazy,
For over a period of days.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But it's also like, there's obviously bigger personalities that arise, and they get more
have to focus
time
on
away.
that,
And that's a big thing for you as well as a contestant, is sussing out those personalities and then being able to read people in that way.
And you don't want to be too prominent either.
Yeah.
People are seeing
so
that.
That's an important thing. You don't want to be the guy going up and making all of these
It has to be subtle.
blindsided calls and all of that, I guess.
No, definitely.
You have to nudge, like a group of people, the moment you strong on them, they will resist. Boom, you lose control. You have to really steer them subtly in the right direction.
Yeah,
okay.
I've got all that advice I need now.
As well. I mean, trying to think like, and then people chatting to you and you're like, not now, Janice. I just did a challenge. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, you don't want to deal with that kind of stuff. But I think I've got all that advice I need now, so I think I'm ready. We're going to do the video after the podcast, obviously.
Hit the gym and stop
I'm going to have to get back in the gym. Jeez, like
stop
it.
drinking.
Yeah. But I've got this, guys. I'm dedicated. I'm going to win it. And then I'll be my own guest on my own podcast one day. But we've got a game that we're going to play to finish it off. Just to make sure that we don't run out of time, I'm just going to stop and restart quickly.
Okay.
And then we're going to play a game where it's basically a quiz on Survivor knowledge.
Survivor game,
and because I'm entering Survivor and we have the previous champion of Survivor, it's going to be me versus him. So let's go. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to play the game now. I obviously have not seen the questions, otherwise that'd be unfair. Mark and Fraser were obviously tasked with getting the questions. No, it's just my home screen, my messy home screen. But yeah, they were tasked with getting the questions. So how it's going to work is If Rob wants to answer, he's going to use his name as the buzzer. He's going to say Rob, and then he'll answer the question. And how many questions are there?
So there's 10 questions, 5 each. I reckon we do
each.
1, 1, 1, 1.
Okay, so
And then we go back and forth.
As well?
Yeah, I've got them on my phone.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So we're not
I've got
talking.
them on my phone.
Okay, so obviously you guys ask the questions, and then we'll use our buzzers.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
So
go.
a couple of my questions are also based on what I think the right answer is as well. So
I saw that
it
about
could
your
go for-
questions, yeah.
It could be open to interpretation.
Okay, that's quite difficult. Okay, but let's go. Let's go. I'm ready.
Cool.
Do you want to smash it? You smash it first.
Okay. So my first question: who was the most annoying person on the island?
Rob. Tanya.
Who was it?
Tanya.
That's
That was
correct.
the first person.
Yeah.
What was that first lady that got?
Tanya.
Was that Tanya?
Yeah.
No, yeah, I so agree with that.
You think
Yeah, Rob was right.
Yeah, but
Okay.
you lost, Franco.
that's what you also
I lost.
thought, right?
Yeah.
So we first say our names.
And then answer.
then-
yeah.
And then you
That,
answer,
that
yeah.
question was like more open to interpretation. Yeah.
It was, but
Michael's
The edit made it pretty
Michael,
clear.
that was the right answer.
Michael
Yeah.
sent me the questions with the answer, and it was Tanya.
Yeah. Okay, so you're gonna go now, Frey. I'm trying to think of like.
Okay, so this is not specifically Survivor South Africa, but name a couple that has met on Survivor.
Oh,
Rob and Amber.
Yes.
I knew that name, bro.
But you know
wore
there's
that
like-
hat.
there's
He
like
always wore
10,
the.
bro.
He always wore the Boston Red
Yes,
Sox
Boston
hat.
Rob. It's Boston
Yeah,
Rob.
it's Boston Rob.
Yeah.
Rob's just quicker
Rob,
than me.
2-0
Bro. No
up.
wonder why he won Survivor, bro.
2-0 up.
Okay, Marky up next.
Okay, next question. Who, in your opinion, had the worst gameplay throughout the season?
Franco on Survivor South Africa, the one that he was on.
On Rob's season, yeah.
I would say Dante, bro, because he never made a move. He was always doing well, but he didn't do anything.
I would say Felix.
Who's Felix? Was he?
He was the big black guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my
So, which
answer
I
one?
love
was
how your
Dante.
question starts.
Okay,
with-
Dante.
Okay,
right,
okay.
cool.
was Dante.
Hey, you
My
guys
answer
give me
was Dante,
Dante.
yeah.
Dante was actually doing what he could. Like he saw the writing on the wall very early.
I saw that, but
and he was
didn't
warning everyone,
communicate. That's
guys.
why, yeah.
Listen, if Rob gets too far, he's going to take us all out. And no one listened, you know? He was like
Yeah.
those Armageddon guys, you know, those guys, the world is going to end, the world's going to end. And he was like, and then all of a sudden what happens? The world ends. And suddenly, that's that guy you was listening to.
See, the problem with Dante was that, yes, he knew, he could see it.
Yeah.
But he couldn't
But
do
he
anything
was so
about it.
bad with people.
Yeah.
He was very bad with people.
Dude,
Or
he-
at least that's how they portrayed it.
Yeah.
So that's why I would say that
How are
he
you
was the
asking
worst.
opinion questions and there's a right answer to it?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm like, how's there right
I'm
answer to
asking
these?
facts. Yeah.
Okay, the rest of my questions are factual.
Okay.
Let's, let's give it 2-1 then, I guess.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
of course, that was the right
He's fine.
answer. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
a good one. Yeah.
What is the next season of Survivor called? So
Oh,
yours
Franco.
was-
Rob, you need to add.
Yes, well done. Sorry, you're a bit late there.
And I knew it because I'm applying for it, bro.
You won.
Okay, who was the first person voted off the island?
Rob.
Franco.
Wait, I don't know. What are we going to do?
Yeah. You're so
You
quick.
can
at
take
this.
it. No, go for it.
Oh,
Let's see
it's
if you
Tanya.
like.
We said that earlier.
No, you're
No.
wrong. It was Leanne.
Yes.
Franco.
You had
was
a
the
chance. I
other-
gave you a
Oh,
chance,
you
Franco.
gave me the chance.
4-1.
Well, I'm obviously the first person voted off Immunity Island.
You hope the internet guys aren't watching this.
Yeah,
You
no,
give your
guys, I'm
trivia
better than
score.
this, I promise.
Okay. Which castaway in this season was eliminated by default?
Whoa.
When I say default, is that individual had no chance.
Oh, Rob, Steffi.
Yes.
I'm not good at this.
Oh, I'm so shit at this.
Getting a
point.
hard.
Yo, what is it? 4-1.
5-1.
Who was known as the mother of the Soul?
Oh, Franco. Isn't it Sipe?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
5-2.
goodness.
I feel like Rob kept deliberately quiet.
He's going to give you one there.
I thought you were going to say Mother of Dragons. I was about to say Daenerys.
Who was the first jury member?
Oh.
It was Meryl.
Yes, it was.
6-1.
6-1. No, 6-2.
He's killing this game.
Bro, I'm going to go to the bathroom. You know when you beat in FIFA and you get to lose 5, I'm not going to go to the bathroom. Bro.
Who was referred to as Superman?
Oh,
Rob.
Franco. Rocco.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, we spoke about this earlier anyway. Yeah.
6-3.
Okay, you got to be quick here. Name the 3 tribes at the beginning of the season.
Oh,
Rob.
bro, no, I'm not.
Saula, Talo, Lame.
Well done.
There we go.
7-3.
This is shocking.
Oh, that's 10.
That's 10 questions. This is
Game
shocking.
over.
Well, you got
So-
3 against the individual who was
done.
on Survivor.
Okay, that's not bad.
Well done, bro.
Yeah, it's
It was a
not
losing
bad.
battle, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, I think that concludes probably one of the best podcasts we've had. Rob,
Are we
thank
going to put your video up of your...
We'll maybe add it onto the podcast
Maybe,
so people can just see the entry video that we're going to create as well. But then it's also going to be put separately so you guys can share it and hopefully get me on there.
Yeah, you
but
gotta share that
Rob,
shit.
Thank you so much for coming on, man.
My
That was
pleasure.
honestly
Really
one of the most
appreciate it,
interesting
Rob.
podcasts.
We know
ever.
that you've got a busy schedule.
So we really appreciate
We're
it. So
just three
yeah,
random guys, but
Yeah. So
If you
thank
wanna-
you so
yeah.
much for coming out and
My
supporting
pleasure.
us. And
if you want to tell the camera who you are, where they can find you, what you got going on, here's your time.
Okay, so Rob, my Instagram handle is Rob Bentele Survivor. Usually, if you just search for Rob Survivor, I pop up, and that's where I'm most active is Instagram.
But soon to be
Facebook.
YouTube. We have discussed it on this
You'll
podcast.
see that.
Coming soon. So yeah, guys, if you can like the video, comment, subscribe, do all the things that most YouTubers usually ask for, and yeah, we appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
thanks, Alex.
Cheers,
That
guys.
was amazing.
Cheers.